few days ago, I think it was March 5th. All right. This was the day after Marianne Williamson went on MSNBC, and she was asked by Jonathan Capehart, if you are not the Democratic nominee, will you fall in line and support the Democratic nominee? Because what you're attempting is a daunting task. You are trying to primary out a sitting president. And she replied that she, as a patriotic American, will do everything in her power to ensure that the neo-fascist authoritarian movement, very much embodied by today's Republican Party, will not win in 2024. And of course, I and Russell, and I think most people who have been at this long enough of a certain common sense understand that to mean that, of course, she will eventually back the Democratic ticket.
Right.
And so I put out a tweet. I'm going to show you the tweet right now. It got a lot of attention. All right. I said, see, I posted a clip of the video. No dirty break. Can Vanguard Pod and Brianna Joy Gray clear this up for their audience like they should have from day one? Again, didn't insult anybody. I'm just saying, okay, here, now we have it. She's saying she's going to do what she has to do to beat the Republicans, which of course means she's not going to run as a left spoiler candidate and take votes from the Democratic nominee. So if it's not her, logic would have it, of course, this means she is going to support the Democratic nominee in the fall. The fact that she spun it as, well, that's why I'm running, because I'm the most electable, every politician is going to do that, right? Right? Every politician is going to do that. But of course, if she considers it her patriotic duty to defeat the Republicans and she calls them fascist and authoritarian, of course she's going to back the Democrat. That's common sense. So
well, also, I understand the game that she's playing here. She knows she doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning this nomination. But she's prepared to suck in all these poor sons of bitches to work on her campaign and donate to her campaign, while at the same time she's signaling to her friends in Beverly Hills, no, don't worry, I'm not a threat. Don't worry. Don't worry. When I'm done playing candidate, I'm going to sheepdog all these people to Biden. Don't worry. You don't have to be mad at me.
Exactly. So this tweet, as of a few hours ago when I screenshotted it, so it wasn't that much at the time, but as you could see, it did pretty well. It got quite a few retweets, quite a few replies. No replies, oddly enough, from Brianna Joy Gray, which I kind of expected because she has hundreds of thousands of followers. She probably gets thousands of mentions a day. But I was a little bit more offended, I should say, although not surprised. No response from the Vanguard boys. Then it comes to my attention. I get a message saying, hey, they responded to you on their show. Oh, wow. So I look at it. They play the clip that I tweeted out. And here's what they have to say here on the Sling Blade Meets Boys Don't Cry show. All right, let's take a look.
Yeah. So we also got tagged in a tweet by those DueDissident guys. You know, that guy and his grandpa. That, you know, I mean, it's a cool show. The kid and his grandpa, you know, won gold. They just wanted to wipe Jimmy Dore's ass one day. I'm pulling for them, but they were like, "See, she says she's not going to do a dirty break," and I was like, "Man, I think some of your grandpa's dementia is running off on you, because she doesn't say that at all in the clip right here, right? What does she say? She says that she's going to do everything in her power to defeat the fascist GOP, and that she believes her candidacy is uniquely primed to do that job. So I'm curious why I got a bunch of tweets at me being like, see, at Vanguard Pod, at Brianna Joy Gray Pod, like fucking.
Okay, like fucking. Okay, I just explained why you got a bunch of tweets at you, because what you're saying is absurd. So I'm not going to make that point again. I'm going to toss to Russell to clear up this age question of yours. So Russell, do you have anything to say about that?
All right. Well, first of all, I mean, it's a common kind of neoliberal elite opinion that grown men shouldn't hang around playgrounds. But I didn't listen, and look what I found. You know, if I had listened to that advice, I wouldn't have a show. Really, though, if you look at the timelines, it's impossible for me to be Keaton's grandfather. What the boys might not know, though, is that I did live in the Midwest about 25 years ago, and I banged a lot of cocktail waitresses in Kansas City. So, you know, Gavin with those blonde locks, probably not, although one of my daughters is a natural blonde. Zach, you're a little Jewy, man. You're a little Jewy. So listen, tell your mom I lost her number and I'm going to give her a call. Okay?
See if the ancestry DNA traces back to the men's room at Harper's Ferry Cracker Barrel or something like that.
You have no idea what used to go on behind those ice makers.
So anyway, you know, ageist dig aside, which is very unwoke of them, right? Ageist dig aside, they also accused us of teaming up to, quote, wipe Jimmy Dore's ass, right? And they called us Jimmy Dore ass wipers on this show. They also called us Jimmy Dore ball lickers a couple of weeks back. I want to play a little clip of theirs from a show either before or after they made this little dig on us here. This is them making the standard coddling argument about Max Blumenthal and Jimmy Dore. They were accusing them of coddling Jimmy Dore and kissing up to Jimmy Dore. And they made a fairly stunning admission about themselves and the early days of their show and the evolution since Exhibit B, shall we say.
Cadre of these guys surrounding him who will constantly go to bat for him, who will constantly defend him at all costs. Because why? Because he's the one that's like they're all just living off of his fucking crumbs, basically, right? For a while, the Vanguard was living off of Jimmy's fucking crumbs, right? And then we had that whole fucking meltdown where we were like, okay, time to have some principles. This man's going right wing as fuck.
Time to have some principles. Can we hear that one more time? I'm sorry. Can we hear that one more time?
Right. For a while, the Vanguard was living off of Jimmy's fucking crumbs, right? And then we had that whole fucking meltdown where we were like, okay, time to have some principles. This man's going right wing as fuck.
All right. Time to have some principles. A year and a half into the show, you happen to have a crisis of conscience where you were no longer going to ride Jimmy Dore's coattails, because when you guys started, you were all about force the vote. You would trash the squad all the time. You were doing basically his show. In fact, as I recall, I even sent you guys a message way back then, which you also did not respond to, inviting you to do a collaboration because I dug you guys. Hey, they're cute kids. They're trying their best. Their head's in the right place. They're saying the right things. Let's see if we can maybe work together, right? No response. Not very surprised, obviously. But at a certain point, you had a crisis of conscience when he got to a certain point where now he's too right-wing for us to follow him there. Yeah. So then your little principles kicked in. Was it your principles kicking in, or did you make friends all of a sudden with Lance Bass and Sporty Spice over there, who are now your new benefactors, who you now go on shows and they come on your shows? It seems like you found a new crowd that you liked a little better than Jimmy, right? Why suck on those saggy Gen X Jimmy Dore teats when you can suck on those perky young millennial Kyle Kalinske teats, right? Right? That's what seems to have happened, because once you got those interviews lined up, your politics changed pretty much on a dime, and they haven't gone back since. And your audience hasn't come back since, if you notice. Maybe they didn't take us all that seriously because we have fewer subs than they do. We have fewer subs than they do because we haven't prostituted ourselves out for every single gossip story that crossed our eyes over the past 3 years. But if you notice, 430 people here in the audience now, our viewership is actually better than yours. It's actually higher than yours. So we actually have a bigger and more robust channel than yours now, despite the sub count, right? But anyway, it's fairly astounding that you would, on two separate occasions, take a dig at us. When, by the way, here's the thing that really bugs me about this, about that dig with the grandpa shit and the Jimmy Dore ass wiping. We tweeted at you to try and get a dialogue going. I didn't call you an asshole. I didn't insult you. I didn't do anything. I said, now that this dirty break...
This is why I don't have the Twitter password.
Exactly. Now that the dirty break thing has been refuted, can we put that to bed? And can you clear this up with your audience? And I assumed they just ignored me, but they weren't ignoring me. They actually had a response, but he waited to go on his show and make a little snot-nosed dig at us rather than engage us on Twitter, because if they actually engaged us on Twitter, I would engage back. And they knew, of course, that I would own their ass and embarrass their ass. So instead they hid like little punks and decided to take a swipe at us on their show rather than engage in an exchange, right? That's what really kind of bugged me about this whole thing. With regards to the ass wiping of Jimmy Dore, you have it right there on tape. Admitted ass wipers. We have a confession, folks. They were ass wiping until they found new asses to wipe. And now they're wiping those asses. And they're telling you it's because they got an attack of conscience and integrity. Do we buy that? I don't.
Yeah, they are literally so fundamentally stupid that they went on the air and admitted to their audience that they do not believe in the politics that they purported to believe in, that they pretended to have those politics in order to gain an audience. And now they've had a crisis of conscience, so now they're doing a pivot to their real politics. And as Keaton points out, they made new friends. And they made new friends with a lot of money. A lot of money. Hey, Marianne can cut a check. Kashama's not going to cut them a check. They're never getting a check out of Kashama Sawan, right? What's Kyle make? $2.2 million a year? How much money does Crystal have? Crystal has like $22 million.
I think net worth's about 40 mil. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are a couple of schmucks out in Kansas City without a full brain between them. They fall in with this crowd. Hey, look, they got dollar signs in their eyes. Clearly, they had that from the beginning. They're telling their audience, we faked our politics to get a subscriber base. How dumb do you even if that's true, how dumb do you have to be to go on the air and tell your audience that? And beyond that, I'm sorry, man. I don't want to go negative. I know we have some overlap, believe it or not, with their audience. How dumb do you have to be to keep watching from that moment on? From that moment on, how can you ever trust these hosts again? They just told you they bullshitted you to get a subscriber base. And that's all of a piece. Look, we're not dumb guys. We got you know, a couple of smart Jew boys with Yiddish cups here. We know we could grow our subscribers much faster by spending all day, every day, chasing the latest. Did you hear what Shank said about Bree and what Bree said? We're not going to do that kind of a show, man. And I think that's a big part of why, you know, Keaton mentioned we have better live view counts than they do, even though they still have more subscribers than we do, although I think not for much longer. Because ever since that Aaron Mate interview, their subscribers have been plummeting and our subscribers have been rising. Our subscribers are very loyal because nobody else is really doing this show. We have the best people. Yeah. We have the best people. We have the best we have the best subscribers. No, because we're offering something a little different. And even if you don't agree with us, you know we're not bullshitting you. And I think that is very compelling for a lot of people. You know we're not on the grift. If we were on the grift, we wouldn't do a J.K. Rowling segment. We know we're going to get shit. We're doing a segment like that. We would do what they do. I mean, it's just an entire show built around left YouTube gossip. So it's not surprising that people that would be comfortable doing a show like that are also people who are going to straight out lie about their politics. Right? At that point, what happened to the van? Didn't they fundraise all this money to go around with a van? What happened to that money? Your money went into crypto and GameStop, people. If you gave money to these guys, that's where it is. It's in GameStop.
Well, all right. So we're not done yet, folks. We're not done yet, folks, because they said what they had to say about us, and that's fine. You know, whatever. They happened to get a super chat from a good friend of the show named Colin Radix Carter. You guys, a lot in the chat probably know Colin from the Indie News Network. Very sweet guy, very nice guy, very smart guy. He's got a good show of his own. He was feeling very, very generous and decided to give them a super chat pushing back on their Marianne narrative. So let's pick this up at Colin's super chat here.
And for the $10, name one YouTube personality who says to sit on their hands. If Marianne Williamson used her platform to push mutual aid, third parties, etc., that would be one thing. But she's running in a system that she said is rigged. It is.
Okay, let's just, because he read that very fast. So of course, the straw man that a lot of the Marianne stands give you is, well, if you're against Marianne, that means you have given into despair and hopelessness. And what Colin makes the point here, and he gave $10 of his hard-earned money to make this point. It was a noble sacrifice, my friend. Even though it went to the wrong hands, it was a noble sacrifice because they wouldn't have read this if you didn't put $10.
It was a sacrifice play.
Well done. I'll hit you back on your, because now you guys have monetization, so we'll hit you back with a super chat. We'll make up for that. You shouldn't have to suffer any more than you did.
Yeah.
Name one YouTube personality who says to sit on their hands. In other words, who's telling you to just disengage rather than support Marianne? If she used her platform to push mutual aid, third parties, etc., that'd be one thing, but she's running in a Democratic primary. This is going to go nowhere. Your efforts are better spent on mutual aid and third parties and outside movements, things like that. So here's their answer.
It's even more.
Sorry.
Be one thing, but she's running in a system that she said is rigged.
But I'm the grandpa.
Colin, but guess what?
Yeah.
It's even more rigged against third parties. It's even more rigged against third parties. So there's this argument. It's like the DNC is going to disenfranchise any progressive running within their ranks. Like they're never going to let a progressive win in the Democratic Party. Bro, do you think they're going to let a fucking third-party candidate win either?
Okay, bro, that's not the point, bro. Bro, the point is, bro, that when you run outside the Democratic Party, bro, you get to appeal, bro, to the 250 million plus Americans, bro, who are not registered Democrats, bro. You understand what I'm saying? When you run in the Democratic Party, you are only appealing to the 30 million or so Democratic primary voters, which is very limiting for a sincere left movement. Because if you actually want to mobilize working people, you have to mobilize and engage with people who are not invested in Democratic primary politics, since Democratic primary politics has proven a barren wasteland for working class politics. And so, no, you are not going to win this year as a third party or even as a labor movement or anything like that. But guess what, morons? You're not going to win this year with Marianne fucking Williamson. So it doesn't matter. That's not an argument. That's not an argument. Unbelievable.
No, they're not. They're not going to let a fucking third party candidate win. They never have. They never will. Does that stop me from voting third party? No, it doesn't. I voted for Jill Stein. I voted.
All right, very good. I'm going to skip ahead to Russell's son here.
Herself. I can't support her. I just don't quite understand how that's realistic, man.
Let's see what your boys got here.
Yeah, and also name one YouTube personality who says to sit on their hands.
That's
of course,
why
they're
I
not telling you to
abandoned
sit on their hands. They're just not telling you what the fuck to do. They want to stir.
Okay, this is just absolutely outrageous.
Disenfranchising herself. I can't support her. I just don't quite understand how that's realistic, man.
Yeah, and also name one YouTube personality who says to sit on their hands. Of course, they're not telling you to sit on their hands. They're just not telling you what the fuck to do. They want to stir up all of your anger and then give you no direction. So the only thing that you do to protest is watch their fucking show. It's exactly what MSNBC.
Okay, that is blatantly, flagrantly untrue. That is an outrageously dishonest thing to say. You are either completely ignorant or you're a liar. Frankly, I don't know which is true in this case because you have a proven track record of being both pathetically ignorant and extremely dishonest when it comes to characterizing what other people say. Now, they're not talking about us here. I don't think we're on their radar that much. There's no doubt what Zach is talking about here is the Revolutionary Blackout Network, because they have a hard-on for RBN. And so they are saying right here that RBN is not pushing any sort of outside strategy in terms of outside movements or mutual aid. Rome,
are you
RBN,
telling me that a couple of Kansas City white boys have an issue with working class black men and their channel?
Well, listen, I don't even have to go there, because what I will tell you right now is just the facts. Just the facts here. Fact, Rome from RBN is now working on building a community library. He is accepting donations and he is busting his ass to build a library. That is called mutual aid. When Rome is done building that library, will he have won the presidency? No, but neither will have fucking Marianne Williamson. What Rome is going to have for his
He'll
efforts,
be closer to the presidency.
he'll be closer. What he's going to have to show for it is a place where people individuals, children's, and families can come and read for free, which is a beautiful thing. What you assholes are going to have is a sticky keyboard from all the cum you shot into it, pitching Marianne 2024. So that's number one. Number two, Nick Cruz from RBN has not only advocated for Kshama Sawant's workers' strike back, he appeared and spoke at the launch event this Saturday. So how you can come on here and say so dismissively that, oh, well, they're not telling you what to do. They're not telling you to sit on their hands, but they're not giving you an alternative. That is an absolute lie. Whether you meant it that way or not, you are either talking out of your ass or you're lying. You're lying. You cannot just say things about people that are untrue. I'm sorry. How fucking dare you invisibilize the work that these guys are doing while all you fucking dipshits are doing are sitting at a keyboard coming up with catchy headlines and thumbnail images trying to gin up this joke-ass Marianne 2024 campaign. It's fucking shameful. Listen, you can be wrong. You can be wrong. I think Brianna Joy Gray is wrong about this. You notice I don't have these words for Brianna Joy Gray because Brianna Joy Gray is not an intellectual midget and she's not a shameless fucking liar. And that's what you guys are. And it's really disgusting that you would go up there and just say so dismissively that they're not offering any alternatives. When not only are they offering the alternatives, they're practicing the alternatives. They're practicing the alternatives. And so it's just shameful. It's just horrible. You have anything to add before we finish this? Because we have more. We have more.
We do have more. You know, I don't want to jump ahead, but you know, if you look at this across the board, not just the Vanguard, if you look at who's lining up with the Marianne Williamson thing, and you look at who's lining up with the Kshama Sawant thing, and you couldn't have a better experiment. They launched on the same day,
right?
And this comes back to what I was saying earlier. It's a class thing. Look at Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore comes out of the working class. All the people who come out of the working class understand that the Democratic Party is a dead end, that they're just going to suck up your money and energy, and they're not going to do anything for you. And we need to build outside power and outside movement. And all the people who want to sheepdog their listeners and viewers into the Marianne Williamson campaign, there were all these fucking privileged white kids, man. I'm sorry. Like those are the people who are supporting that. And they might even be doing it in all good faith and honesty. I don't really think that's the case here. Some of them, I think, really, you know, see it that way. But it's because of their class perspective that they can't imagine another way. They just can't think outside of that box.
All right, let's keep going.
During the entire Trump era, it's what Fox News does during the Joe Biden era. They stir up all of your fucking energy and then point it in the direction of nowhere, right?
Again,
Colin, you respond to
totally
me. What
wrong.
YouTube personality that's telling you not to vote for Marianne Williamson is telling you to vote for another candidate that's already announced? They don't fucking exist. They're
not telling you to vote for another candidate, but that wasn't what he was saying. That wasn't Colin's question.
Right.
You're conflating two things. You're conflating two things. First, you said they're telling you to do nothing, and then you're saying because they're not telling you to vote or who to vote for, they're telling you to do nothing. Those two things do not compute, my friend. I'm sorry. Maybe you haven't taken, you know, 9th grade logic yet, but
lip service to guys like Chris Hedges, Cornel West, Kshama Sawant, a bunch of people who can't or will not run for president, right?
No one's floated Chris Hedges, Kshama Sawant, or Cornel West for president. No one has floated that. No one has floated that. It's not about, listen, you're getting, whether you like it or not, unless somebody drops dead between now and then, you're getting Joe Biden, Ron DeSantis, or Donald Trump, January 20th, 2025. Maybe this phrase rings a bell. Grow up. Grow up. Because that's who's going to be president. One of those three people on January 20th, 2025. So you guys are stuck in this fantasy world of YouTube ratings. You need a show. You need a narrative for a show. That was the monologue I put out, you know, whatever it was, 2 days back. Kyle's putting out a video a day on this Marianne thing. They're getting a lot of views. He's already off to the races about it. That's what this is about. But it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. That's all it is.
And also, they're very often raising the. I mean, this was the Crystal argument. Okay, you don't want to get behind Marianne Williamson. Fine. Why can't you do your thing and we do ours? Okay, you know why? Because when you try to line up the left behind some prosperity gospel, new age hippie, it discredits all of us. It plays to the worst stereotypes of what the left is and what the left is about. You get some rich, new age California person to represent us, that's almost as bad as being represented by Nancy Pelosi. It plays to all the worst stereotypes of what the left is. And you have to be really ignorant of the working class to think it's a good idea to put somebody like that forward as our avatar.
Right. Absolutely. Let's keep going. Like I said, not done. A few more minutes of this.
You tell me how that's good fucking strategy, Colin. Colin, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're behaving like a Marc.
Yeah, and
Real
also,
nice way
Marianne
to treat
Williamson
a guy who
has
just gave you $10. Like, even if you disagree with him, like, do we talk to the super chat people like that? We had a super chat person ask what I thought was a flawed question earlier. Did I say, well, that's fucking stupid, man. Yeah, thanks for the $10, but you're really fucking dumb.
over and over again engaged in these direct mutual aid grassroots organizations.
Now this guy starts pitching Marianne as a mutual aid warrior. These guys, I gotta say, they're on script. I'll give them that. Maybe she should hire them as their, like, you know, the campaign press secretary. That would be fucking hilarious. I'll tell you what, if she hires these guys to be her press secretaries, I might throw the campaign a few bucks just for the comedy, just to keep it going.
Yeah,
for a long time
keeps
now.
going.
Just to keep it going, at least until New Hampshire.
I don't think her running for president in the Democratic Party is somehow at the expense of third parties or mutual aid, especially because she's suggested and hinted that she might run as a third party candidate if the DNC screws her.
Stop. We've already debunked this.
100%. 100%. So shout out to you, Colin. Really appreciate that. I'm sorry we had to swat down your argument there.
You can swat down anything. You're a moron. And what, again, what an obnoxious way to treat a viewer,
somebody who gave you money,
$10 and had a thoughtful, honest question. Colin wasn't done. Colin decided to throw a little tip on it, and this was my favorite part of the whole thing. Here we go. You can see his question. When are you guys going to talk about Shama Sawant's kickoff? Because the Workers' Strike Back movement launched on Saturday, March 4th, same day that the Marianne Williamson campaign launched. So Colin's saying, when are you guys going to talk about that? Here's something we're offering up. Okay, fine. You say we're offering nothing. We're offering the Shama Sawant Workers' Strike Back movement. Do you have anything to say about that? Let's take a listen.
When are you guys going to talk about Sawant's kickoff? We covered the Sawant, you know, when she launched her entire like new program, she decided that she was going to leave Socialist Alternative. She wasn't running for another re-election in city council. We covered that. So yeah, shout out to you, Colin. We already beat you to the punch there.
No, again, totally obnoxious. And again,
they don't even
totally
know what he's
untrue.
Talking about.
You don't even know what he's saying. He's referring to the article that she put out in the Stranger magazine announcing back in, I think it was January or something, that she was going to form this movement and that she was going to quit the Seattle City Council at the end of her term. He thought that meant he covered it. All right, done. Let's go back. Let's see who Russell Brand is posing for selfies with now and make segments out of that. We've already done the Shama Sawant thing once, and it probably didn't do very well in terms of view count, so who cares? Snoozers, right? Let's go back to our gossipy bullshit show. All right.
Let's go back to who said what about whose cousins, uncles, nephews on Twitter.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So here's how this goes.
Yeah, we talked about the Workers' Strike Back thing when she, when like Zach said, she decided not to run for re-election in Seattle and started Workers' Strike Back. I'm still not 100% sure what Workers' Strike Back is.
Like, he did a great job covering it then. That was a killer segment you did on it a couple months ago. Yeah, we covered it. Yeah, totally. What is it again? Are
they going to run candidates?
Are they going to run anybody? We're obsessed with running candidats for president.
Is he auditioning for the Bill and Ted prequel? Is that what's going on here?
What?
I'm not really sure.
Candidate? I'm not sure.
Just like a...
See, what?
What's the point? Like, what are they?
What's the point of it? Yeah, we covered it. We like it. Yeah, what's the point of it? What is it? What are they doing? All right,
it's like a vague.
It's a mutual
aid network.
Yeah, vague mutual. No, it's not a vague. No, it's not. Yeah, yes. Shama Sawant to quit Seattle City Council to launch vague mutual aid network. Yeah,
hang on, are these people who work with their hands and their bodies?
Join the vague mutual aid network. Fist in the air. Vague mutual aid. All right, now this is where it gets funny. All right, all right.
I think it's like to give Shama her due. Like, I don't have any problem with workers' strike back. I think it's a great idea. I think essentially what she's doing is she's trying to create a place where we have more bodies, we have more organizations, people who are going to be able to, you know, band together and then say, hey,
now let me pause it for a second. Look at Gavin's face there. Yeah. That is the face of a man who is Googling workers' strike back.
He's literally doing research while
it's starting to dawn on
on
him that, perhaps we missed something. Perhaps my co-host here just embarrassed us yet again by giving an obnoxious, arrogant, and inaccurate response to a super chat question here. Maybe I should look into this on the spot while he's rambling. So
maybe I shouldn't have taken Kyle.
Hey, now we are going to stand with this union.
Maybe I shouldn't have taken Kyle all the way down to the shaft.
Maybe I should have. That's what I understand. They say that we're an independent movement organizing in our workplace.
Oh, he found
the
it.
Streets against the bosses and their political servants.
Okay, good. Reading off the screen.
They're basically doing so as a way of demanding real raises for workers, union jobs for all.
He found it. Look at that. Look at it. He's like, quick research. Quick on your feet there, my friend. Yeah. I found it.
And then fighting against discrimination,
like retroactively covering the thing that you supposedly covered in real time while you're slamming somebody who just gave you money for pointing out that you didn't cover it.
Right. We do retroactive research after insulting a guy who asked a question about it.
Sexism, all oppression, and providing, you know, quality, affordable housing. But it's more about the protesting element of it, leading strikes, trying to get people to stir up trouble and good trouble, as you know, they say.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to throw shade.
I wasn't trying to throw shade.
Obviously, love Shama Sawan. I think she's.
We don't cover her
on the left. I just didn't really get, like, was it a third party? What the point is? But
I thought it was a great idea. I had total respect for it. I just didn't really know what it was or what the point of it was, and I never bothered to really follow up on it. Yeah.
I didn't see any benefit to us to covering it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's exactly.
I didn't think we'd get subscribers out of it. I didn't think we'd get donations, super chats. I didn't think we would get rich friends who might donate to our channel in order to build our neoliberal propaganda network.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't see any of that potential in backing Shama Sawan.
It seemed like a cool idea, except Shama Sawan's husband never insulted David Pakman on Twitter, and so we could never really make a clippable segment out of it.
We didn't have an angle.
Yeah, we didn't have an angle is the problem. There's no angle.
He's talking working class politics and challenging the establishment
I don't really get what the point of that
in a real way. Rather than a futile presidential campaign that we can build a narrative around without having to think about it too hard, which is not our forte.
And it does look like they had an event this weekend where...
Oh, yeah, it looks like they had an event this weekend. It looks like they had an event this weekend.
For a tiny minority at the top.
Looks like they were up to something this weekend while Marianne was giving her announcement. So maybe you should, I don't know. Hey, guys, maybe I've burnt this bridge already, but we get an apology to Colin? I understand you blocked Colin because he sent you a spoken word piece that a colleague of his wrote about you guys. All right. But
they blocked him. They blocked
him. They blocked him for that, you know, and stuff like that. So I don't know. Can we get it to, can you say you're sorry? Can you say you're sorry to Colin? I think you owe the Revolutionary Blackout Network an apology for insinuating that they were, you know, advocating for nihilism and despair. Again, a complete, total, demonstrable, provable lie. I mean, you guys can't just lie. You can't lie. I know you're young. I know you're making your way in the world. Okay? Take it from me and my grandfather. You got to be honest.
And
you got to be honest.
I want to apologize to you for not being there. That's going to change. That's going to change right now.
Maybe if you raised them right, they'd come out a little better.
He might not have turned out to be such a weenie.
Please clap.